The city of Newcourt, a city that is now one of the richest, cleanest, and prosperous in the country. But that wasn't always the case. In the city's good old days, at least from the late 20s to now, crime was the rule of the day. But by the early 30s, Newcourt was now in control of the city's top gangsters, with the top dog being Salvatore Zaza, aka the Godfather, and head of the Zaza crime family. But things began to change, as only 2 years into his reign, a masked man emerged and started a war with the city's top gangland figures, and eventually other criminals. That man was Benjamin Benny Cohen, but to the city of Newcourt, he was called the Masked Dragon. I'm Harrison Phillip, city historian and butler to the Cohen family. And I'm beginning a series of entries about the Masked Dragon's exploits, all his adventures, all the crimes that were committed in the city, and all the bad guys he brought to justice. This is The Dragon's War. To start the series off, let's go to the beginning. Now, before Mr. Cohen was a masked vigilante, he was a simple boy who grew up on the streets, worked hard at an honest living, and had big political ambitions to become a city councillor and maybe one day mayor. But in the meantime, he was an advocate for city reform. Now, as we all know, during the 1920s was the days of Prohibition, with bootleggers fighting a bloody gang war for control of the city's bootlegging trade. And for a time, Mr. Cohen was an advocate to an end for Prohibition, and at the arrest of all the city's big gangsters. But he was not alone. He was fighting the good fight with his best friends, fellow journalist Anthony Tony Donato, and a local shop owner, well, I should say baker, Mickey Green, all whom were honest, hard-working, and had a dream of changing the city for the best. Now, Mickey and Mr. Cohen here all attended a martial artist fight club when they were kids. Mr. Cohen was the best one there, with Mickey always being the second runner-up. The local teacher, or sensei, as I've been politically informed of what you really call it, gave his students nicknames. Now, he always called Mickey a demon, due to the fact that he had a dark nature whenever he got angry towards bullies. However, he did give Mr. Cohen the name the Dragon. Why? I do not know. Even when I ask him, he himself says he doesn't know. Now, one fateful week would change their lives forever, as it was 1932, the year of the Turner and Dutch Gang War. The war was fought between two gangs. Now, Chuck, the boss Turner, was the boss of the black mob, and Louis Mad Dog Dutch was the head of the Jewish mob. The war had been going on for at least 4 months, with casualty on both sides, Tony was constantly reporting on all the gangland activity in the local area of Hellshop, but the police seemed powerless to do nothing, mostly because most of them were bribed off. This just got people more and more scared, so to ease the tension, the community decided to host a costume party, in which Mr. Cohen would find out would change his world forever. Now, as I would later find out, Mr. Cohen just hated parties, but his friends forced him to come, so he dressed in what he could find. Some mask, a suit that he just happened to have, and was on his way. He noticed a local shop owner was getting harassed by local men of the Dutch gang for protection money. Cohen stepped in, and a fight ensued.
There, sweet cheek. You're some kind of dish, ain't ya? Twist like that,
I'm not the kind of game you mess with, pal. Get away from me!
Get away from her!
Now, he had won the fight, but when he left the shop, the owner of the establishment asked him for what his name, and he just said, Dragon. Don't know why. When I asked him, he just said he just wanted an alias and just wanted to leave and not cause any trouble. The whole thing was an accident that he just happened to walk by. The news of the event spread like wildfire throughout the community. The newspapers later got a hold of the so-called story, and they published the name The Masked Dragon. To Cohen, he realized that he could really make a difference at night by going after the city's criminals, so he became a vigilante. He became the Masked Dragon. Mr. Cohen then went to Tony the following day about information about the Dutch gang. He wanted to know where they hang out, as he realized his first order of business was to take down the Dutchman. He went, and Tony told him that they hanged out at a local nightclub called the Potten Club, where all the top members of the gang hanged out. And then, that night, the Dragon went there to the club to do some investigating, but there he just ended up getting into a confrontation with them.
Guys, get out here! We're gonna open you up! Great. Don't come here again, huh?
He ended up losing the fight. He was tied to a chair and was beaten by Mad Dog Dutch himself, curious as to why a masked man was wandering around his place. But the Dragon refused to talk, and just when he was ready to kill him, Tony just happened to stumble in, no doubt looking for a story. After all, he is a reporter. He ended up getting caught by the gang, and they were about to kill him. The masked Dragon then managed to somehow untie himself and got hands on a local machine of Thompson and ended up shooting at the gangsters. The shootout ended with Mad Dog Dutch dead, along with most of his gang. Pretty much that night, the whole Dutch gang was pretty much defunct. Dragon then managed to get Tony and get him into a silver car, which of course actually belonged to Mad Dog Dutch. This car will later become the first car of the Dragon's signature vehicle, the Silver Phantom, as it was a silver custom-made car. The Dragon managed to get Tony home, but just as he soon entered into the door, Mickey Green was there. And he had seen how they were both practically beaten. Mr. Cohen then unmasked himself, revealing his identity to both him and Mickey that night. He then told him everything, what he was going to do, and asked if they would help. Immediately, they all agreed to join his crusade. All agreed yes, and that day will mark the beginning of the Masked Dragon's war on crime. And that is the origin of the Masked Dragon and the formation of the original team. And since then, all criminals in the city of Newcourt feared the name the Masked Dragon. This marks an end to this story, so join us next time as the Dragon's War goes on in his battle against the mob in the Dragon's Wars.